quarterback has led Air Force to more wins than Tim Jefferson. As a four-year starter from 2008 to 2011, TJ led the Falcons to 4 bowl games, including wins over Houston and Georgia Tech. Jefferson now taking his talents to Tinseltown in a very powerful way. Hi, everybody. I'm Jesse Kurtz here in the Mountain West Network studio, where it's my honor to head down to Atlanta, Georgia, and bring in the former QB1 at the Academy, Tim Jefferson. Hollywood, it's great to track you down. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How about yourself? Thanks for having me.
We're pumped up to have you. Thanks for making time for us, bud. Before, though, we get to your big screen debut, first things first. You recently separated from the United States Air Force after over 11 years of service. Thank you so much for your service, number one. Number two, tell everybody where you served and what you flew.
Yeah, right after I graduated from the academy, I went down to Columbus, Mississippi for pilot training, and I ended up staying there for about 5 years because they selected me to be an instructor in the T-6 aircraft to start off my career. After that, I moved off to Abilene, Texas, to Dyess Air Force Base, where I did my training for the B-1 bomber, and then I ended up moving up to Rapid City, South Dakota for Ellsworth Air Force Base, where I flew the B-1 for the next couple of years. I ended up doing one deployment out in Afghanistan, flying the E-11 aircraft, and then I came back and finished up my career in Wichita Falls at Shepherd Air Force Base, flying the T-38s.
But now that you're separated, you're now serving as a commercial pilot for Delta. What do you love most about that job?
Well, one, the ability to pretty much fly around and go anywhere in the world is one of the awesome perks of being an airline pilot. That's one of the main reasons why I always wanted to be an airline pilot growing up, was the fact that I can go anywhere in the world being an airline pilot. And then another aspect that I didn't really recognize until I actually started doing it was the fact that it's a lot closer to being kind of like an Air Force squadron than I ever recognized, because the people who are there all have the same job, and their job is to go fly the airplanes, and they're professionals at what they do. And one of my biggest, perks of that is being able to meet and talk with all the other captains and other first officers that I come across, and learn about their backgrounds and their histories. And everyone is coming from different places. There's lots of military guys in the company. We're all in the same cockpits, flying the same places.
You're going places, my friend, and what's truly exciting, now that we've set the stage, this is where your football and your pilot career have converged in a very important and exciting way. You recently were cast in a documentary celebrating the Tuskegee Airmen called The Flyest Ever. It debuted during Super Bowl week, and the documentary celebrates the group of young men who volunteered to become America's first black military airmen. How did that role come about for you?
Honestly, it was just one of those things that it fell into my lap. I had a buddy who reached out to me as I was leaving Wichita Falls, Texas, and he reached out to me saying, "Hey, I have a friend who, he's a producer for NFL, and he's looking for a guy who can play this role, and I personally think that you fit, all the characteristics." And he told me, like, he's looking for someone who played football, someone who's a pilot, and someone who's black, because this feature is for Black History Month, and it's going to be about the Tuskegee Airmen. And so I was like, yeah, I guess I fit all those traits that you're looking for. NFL 360 is the company that put on the production, and it was produced by Osahan Tongo, who actually played football at Georgia Tech and graduated about 2 years prior to me. So I didn't actually get to play against him and his Paul Johnson team. But but he remembers me and my playing days as well. So it's a small world,
Well, you and NFL 360 do a tremendous job of conveying the importance of the role that the Tuskegee Airmen have played here in America, a significance that cannot be overstated. And the superintendent of the United States Air Force Academy, Lieutenant General Richard Clark, is also featured in the film as well. And as we celebrate Black History Month, what are some of the things that you learned about these American heroes while shooting the film?
There's two P words that come to mind: perseverance and professionalism. So when you look back at the Tuskegee Airmen and the time frame that they were going through this back in the 1940s, perseverance became a true factor, because this was the first of their kind. They were the first of their kind to take on this feat and accept the calling to go serve the military as pilots. And so they had to face a lot of adversity to be able to do so. And they persevered. You know, they put their heads down. They did what they had to do to get through their training. And not only did they finish their training, they went on to be some of the best pilots that we've ever seen during the World War II timeframe. So, you know, their ability to just persevere through all that adversity through that time frame is one of the things that definitely, you know, makes me think, wow, you know, these guys are true legends. And then the other, you know, the P word, professionalism, you know, not only them to be able to be professionals at what they were doing to become the best at what they were doing, but you look at the heritage that followed afterwards, and you look at people such as, you know, General Clark and General Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You look at the Air Force Thunderbirds today, you know, they are the utmost professionals that you can ever think of. They are the face of the United States Air Force when it comes to, hey, who represents the Air Force? You think of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. And I got a chance to spend, you know, a day or two with the Thunderbird team, and I can tell you that I have never seen more professionals in one setting than, you know, those couple of hours that I got to spend with those guys. And, you know, it was awesome. It was awesome. You look at somebody like General Clark and General Brown, their backgrounds, their careers speak for themselves. You know, there are no people who are more deserving for the positions that they're in than they are. So those are two of the big key takeaways that I got from this experience.
Yeah, well said, TJ. The Tuskegee Airmen flew over 1,500 combat missions in their time, and in 2020, Air Force football honored these brave airmen with the Air Power Legacy uniform featuring the Red Tails. And speaking of Air Force football, last November, in the game against Army in Denver, you got a chance to pay witness to a pretty special ceremony at halftime. General Charles Hugh Brown, who, as you mentioned, is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the nation's highest-ranking military officer, promoted James Harvey, who is one of the Tuskegee Airmen, who is still with us today, from Lieutenant Colonel to Colonel. How powerful of an experience was that for you to witness?
So being down on the field for that promotion ceremony was definitely honorable for me. Looking into the crowd, looking in the stands, nobody left their seats. Everyone wanted to be there to watch that ceremony take place, and that was powerful in itself. I had the chance to talk with Colonel Harvey the night prior. I interviewed him for the documentary, and we sat down and talked for about 2 hours at his house in Lakewood, Colorado. And let me tell you, for someone who is 100 years old, he is still as sharp as a knife. Like, he was able to recall facts from the 1940s that he lived through and recall names, dates, times, ranks, everything. Like, just spout them off the top of his head, and without hesitation. And for someone who is, you know, like I said, again, 100 years old, to be able to do that, that's such an amazing feat. And I was in awe the entire time that I was talking to him. So being there to watch him receive that promotion was, you know, there's not many more things that are more exciting than that, especially in that setting.
I would echo that. I happened to be in the building as well, and teared up a little bit at the ceremony and the significance of what took place that day. Tim, what a wonderful experience that was for you all the way around. You were a great football player, you're a great American, you're a great military member, and now you're a great actor. Thank you so much for your service, but most importantly here today, thank you so much for telling the important and powerful story of the Tuskegee Airmen.
I appreciate you having me, Jesse. Thank you so much.
That's former Air Force quarterback Tim Jefferson, current pilot and actor extraordinaire. By the way, if you'd like to watch the documentary, The Flyest Ever, featuring former Air Force quarterback Tim Jefferson, you can do so by logging on to NFL.com/videos. The URL is on the bottom of your screen right now. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Jesse Kurtz.